Hey everyone, I blew my fuse over the last weekend, and I literally blew a fuse in the multimeter I use. So that's what I mean, not my fuse but multimeter fuse. I was installing a pool pump timer, so I won't have to run it 24 hours a day. And what I realized was my pump is actually set on a 240 volt two-phase supply, which is most of the residential pools are set on. The timer I got was not very intuitive. It didn't have a single 240 volt load example, so I had to use, actually it did have, but they called it hot water heater example, but I ended up using that. As I was trying to figure out exactly how many voltage it is, I connected the multimeter and set it to, I thought I was setting it to 250 volt, actually 500 volt, but right next to it was the resistance meter, and I set it to, unintentionally I set it to 1000 ohm multiplier. And as soon as I connected the leads to the power points, I heard a small sound and the multimeter went dead, and I realized I had broken it. I immediately connected the continuity tester, tried to see if it was working, and no, it was not. It was burnt. So I went inside, opened the back panel, and what I found was there was a 0.5 amp fuse that was out. So I ordered it on Amazon, and it should be delivered sometime this week, but I needed my meter to continue my work. So I took a piece of wire and connected it between the terminals. Now, the way fuse works is it acts as the weakest link in the chain, in the circuit. So if there is an overload, or if there is a mistake like I did, instead of burning the entire system, the fuse sort of sacrifices itself, burns out, and protects the rest of the circuitry. By adding a thick wire, which is possibly rated at, I don't know, 5 amp. Actually, it may be rated 5 amp, but it won't burn until many more amps. I have removed that weak link. So if I did that mistake again, instead of losing a fuse, the entire multimeter will go up in flames. Hopefully I'll get it this week, and I'll put the fuse back on. But this actually reminded me of something back in India, and I didn't think of it until very recently when I was working with other fuses. At home we had these ceramic fuse plugs, and anytime there was an overload, short circuit, which is a kind of an overload, or a surge from the power supply, the fuse will go out. And I learned very quickly, pretty much everybody learned very quickly, that you take out the ceramic plug, find a thin copper wire strand out of a lot of wires we had, and connect it between the terminals and put it back on. The thicker the wire, the more resilient it will be, and what that meant was it will blow less frequently. I don't remember. I think someone did tell me that using a thicker wire means you are risking the entire house circuitry. I think I understood that before I went into engineering, and that's when we learned all the other stuff, power thyristors or whatnot. But it is funny that back in India, I mean, I don't know who came up with an idea that you could use a thin strand, and we never cared about how thick the wire had to be. We just took whatever was available and put it in there. I will post a video of the multimeter fuse I'm talking about, and hopefully as soon as I receive it this week, I'll replace it back with the fuse. So there you go. Right? Come on. Alright, that's all it is for today.